quiet seat at platform 4 it was almost midnight. The last train was late, and the cold wind crept in through the broken side panels of the platform shelter. Most people had already gone home. Just a few scattered souls remained, some scrolling on their phones, some pacing slowly. But Keanu Reeves just sat still, elbows on his knees, hands folded, eyes fixed on the tracks that disappeared into the darkness. He wore a plain black jacket, no hat, no scarf, just his breath, visible in the chill, slowly rising and fading. The bench beneath him was cold, but he didn't seem to notice. There was something heavy on his mind, something that made the cold almost feel fitting. He had missed his train on purpose, not because he had nowhere to go, because he wasn't sure if he should go at all. Years ago, he had promised someone he hadn't seen in a long time. He'd kept every promise he made in his life, except that one. Now out of nowhere a message had arrived. Just 3 words. Simple, quiet, but powerful enough to bring him here. Alone in the middle of the night, the message said, "I'm still waiting." He didn't know what he expected. Maybe nothing. Maybe closure. Or maybe just the silence. Sometimes silence helped him hear what his heart was saying. Tonight, though, it was only confusion that filled the air. Then footsteps echoed. Light ones, steady, not rushed. He looked up, thinking it might be a station guard or just another passenger. But the moment he saw her, his breath caught. It was Anna. Her hair was tied back, her coat long and brown, buttoned all the way up. She looked exactly how he remembered her, but there was something different too. A kind of weight in her eyes. Like she had carried something for far too long. She didn't say anything at first. She just sat beside him. Not close, not far. Just enough. And for a few seconds, they sat like that. To people who hadn't spoken in years. To people who once meant everything to each other. Keanu finally broke the silence. "You came," he said softly. Anna looked at him. Her voice didn't tremble. It was calm. "Even you left first." He turned away for a moment. Her words weren't harsh. They were just true. "I know," he whispered. "I never should have." Anna reached into her coat and pulled out something. It was folded carefully. Protected. She held it on her lap, not showing it yet. Keanu single quotes eyes dropped to it, then back to her face. "What's that?" "Something from years ago," she said. "Something you gave me before you left." "I never told you I kept it." He waited. She didn't open it. "Not yet." "Why now?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. Anna looked ahead. The train lights hadn't appeared yet. Just the hum of silence between them. "Because I never stopped waiting," she said. "And now I want to know why you never came back." The pain in her voice wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was gentle, but deep. Like it had grown slowly over time, turning from confusion to sadness, and then to quiet acceptance. Keanu's throat tightened. The truth was messy. Not because he didn't care, but because he had cared too much. He thought leaving was the only way to protect what they had. "I thought I was doing the right thing," he said. "Back then, I didn't know how to stay without ruining everything." Anna turned to him. Now, really looked at him. And now, he looked into her eyes. "Now I'm not sure what's left to save." She opened the folded paper then. It was a photograph, old, faded in it. Oh. A younger Keanu and Anna were standing outside a train station just like this one. He had his arm around her. She was laughing. There was sunlight in the picture, and a feeling of hope. But it wasn't just the picture that caught his heart. There was a note on the back. "Meet me again one day. When we're ready, same place. No promises. Just truth." He had written that. He had forgotten about it. And now, after all these years, she had come back to that exact place. "I waited every year," she said. "Same date, same hour. And then I stopped coming. But this morning something told me to try one last time." Keanu felt tears sting his eyes. Not because of guilt, but because she had remembered more than he had. She had believed when he had forgotten. "I failed you," he said. "I thought walking away was love." But it was just fear. Yana didn't cry. She didn't get angry. She just nodded. So what now? She asked. Before he could answer, the sound of a train started to build in the distance. It wasn't theirs. It's just one that would pass through. But still it brought movement, tension, a sense that something was coming, whether they were ready or not. Keanu looked at the photograph again. He gently traced his fingers across the words he had once written. Then he looked at her. Maybe. He said, "This is our one last train." Anna stood up slowly. Or maybe, she said, "It's the first one back," as the wind blew her coat slightly. And the light from the approaching train glowed in the distance. Keanu stood too. Not everything had been said, but for the first time in years, they were standing side by side again. And that was a start. The train that didn't stop train passed by without stopping. Just a blur of lights in motion, rushing through the station like a memory too quick to hold. Keanu and Anna stood still as the wind from it blew through their hair and coats. But neither of them moved. When the silence returned, so did the weight between them. Anna looked down at the photograph again. She folded it carefully, like it still mattered. And then she slipped it back into her coat pocket without a word. "You have somewhere to go?" Keanu asked, unsure if it was the right thing to say. "I don't know," she replied. "I just knew I had to come here." "Me too." He glanced at her again. Her face was calm, but her eyes told another story. There were questions inside her. Some old, some new. And maybe not all of them would get answers tonight. "Can we walk?" she asked softly. He nodded. They left the platform slowly, passing through the empty ticket hall. The vending machines hummed. A janitor wiped a corner near the entrance without looking up. It all felt so normal. And yet, inside both of them, everything had shifted. Outside, the night was even colder. But it didn't matter. Not when they were walking side by side again. They said nothing for a while there. Footsteps on the sidewalk were soft, calm. Then Anna spoke again. "I was angry," she said, "for a long time." Keanu turned to her, but didn't interrupt. "When you left, you didn't say goodbye. You just disappeared. No letter, no explanation. I thought I did something wrong." "You didn't," he said quickly. "You were never the problem." She gave a short nod, but her eyes still carried hurt. "Then why leave like that?" Keanu took a deep breath. He had thought about this moment for years, and yet now that it was here, the words still felt hard. "Was broken," he said. "I thought I had to fix myself before I could be with anyone. Did you?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he slowed down, stopping near a bench outside a closed bakery. They sat. He looked at his hands, then up at the stars above. "I tried," he finally said. "Therapy, traveling, disappearing. I tried to forget everything for a while. Did it work?" "No," he said, "because I kept remembering one thing. Your voice." And I looked at him, not with softness, not yet, but with attention, with care. "What about it?" She asked. "You always believed in me," he said, "even when I didn't." Anna leaned back slightly. The wind played with the loose strands of her hair. "I still do," she said. "That's the worst part." Keanu smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile, more like a silent thank you hidden behind years of regret. "So why did you message me now?" he asked. "After all this time?" She reached into her coat again. This time, she pulled out something else, a small envelope. She handed it to him. "Open it." He did. Inside was a letter, handwritten, by her mother. He read the first lines and his heart sank. "Dear Keanu, I know we haven't met, but I'm writing this because I saw how Anna looked at you back when you were together. I want you to know she's never looked at anyone else the same way. Not before, not after. Whatever happened between you, I hope one day you return. Because I think you were the only one who truly saw her. And maybe, just maybe, she's still waiting." He read it twice, then folded it carefully. "She wrote this before she passed away," Anna said, "but she never sent it. I found it in her drawer last week." Keanu's eyes stayed on the folded letter in his hands. The pain of his past choices was heavier. "Now, I should have stayed," he whispered. "Maybe," Anna said. "What, you didn't, and now you're here. Do you think that matters?" "It might." They sat for a while longer. Cars passed by now and then. The city was quiet but not asleep. Then Anna stood. "Come with me," she said. "Where?" "Just trust me." Keanu followed. They walked a few blocks in silence until they reached an old building. 3 floors, lights off, except for one dim glow from the top window. "My place," Anna said simply. She unlocked the door and they stepped into a narrow hallway. The walls were lined with pictures, some of friends, some of movie sets. One of them was a younger Anna holding a small dog. Keanu remembered that day. He had taken that photo. They climbed the stairs inside her apartment. Everything was warm, quiet, filled with old books, soft blankets, and the faint smell of vanilla. It looked lived in, but not messy. "Just real." "Sit anywhere," she said. "Want tea?" "Sure." He sat on the edge of her couch while she boiled water in a small pot. Her movements were calm, practiced. She didn't ask questions, didn't force anything. And maybe that's what made Keanu feel safe again. She handed him a cup, sat beside him. For a few minutes, they sipped without speaking. Then Anna said, "Do you remember the promise you made?" He looked up. "Which one?" "The one you whispered to me the night before your flight, the last night we were together." He tried to recall. The image came slowly, like a dream half remembered. Then it returned. A cold night, our balcony, the stars above. His voice saying something soft, broken, but honest. "I'll come back when you stop believing I will." Anna nodded like she knew he had remembered. "I stopped believing last year," she said. "But then, I started again." He set the tea down, leaned forward. His voice cracked. "Anna, yeah, I never stopped loving you." The silence was sharp. "Honest." Anna placed her hand over his. Her eyes were glassy now. "I know," she said. "But love's not always enough." Keanu nodded. Then, "Tell me what is." She looked into him. "Truth, healing, and time." And for the first time that night, her voice trembled. The silence between two hearts next morning was quiet. Sunlight crept through the curtains, soft and golden, touched the wooden floor of Anna's apartment and lit up the framed. On a table, one of her smiling during a film festival. Keanu sat near the window, awake long before the sun had risen, holding a cup of tea that had long gone cold. He hadn't slept, neither had Anna, though she hadn't said a word about it. She had spent the night in her bedroom, not because she didn't trust him, not because she was angry, but because some spaces between people take more than words to cross. Keanu watched the street below. The city was beginning to stir. Joggers, delivery vans, a child walking to school with her father. Life was moving. But inside that small apartment, everything still felt paused. He heard footsteps. Anna entered the room, barefoot, wearing a simple robe. She looked at him with a kind of tired peace. Not sadness, just ... thought. "You didn't sleep," she said gently. "Neither did you." She smiled a little and poured herself a glass of water. She stood by the kitchen counter and leaned against it, looking at him like she was still deciding whether to speak. "I kept hearing your voice in my head," she finally said. "From years ago, all the little things you used to say, the way you laughed, the way you would pause before answering anything, like every word mattered." Keanu placed the cup down and turned fully toward her. "And what did those voices say?" "They asked why I never let go." His breath caught in his throat. "And I think ... I never wanted to." The honesty in her voice hit deep. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was soft and still and carried the weight of time. "Do you want to let go now?" he asked. Anna walked closer and sat across from him. Her eyes were searching his, as if looking for something she hadn't found yet. "I don't know," she said. "But I want to understand. Not just what happened, but why." Keanu nodded slowly. It was time. "The day before I left," he began, "I got a call from my sister. She'd been struggling for years. Addiction, bad relationships. I thought she was okay, but that night, she wasn't." Anna listened closely. No interruption. No judgment. "She told me she was at the edge," Keanu continued. "She said she needed me. Not tomorrow, not next week. that night. I paused. His hands trembled slightly. Anna noticed. I had to choose, he whispered. Stay with you or go to her. Why didn't you tell me? Because I was scared you'd say come back soon. And I didn't know if I ever could. Eyes filled with tears now. Not because she was angry, but because she finally understood the pain he had carried alone. What happened to her? She asked. I stayed with her for months, Keanu said. Rehab, therapy, long nights, slow mornings. She got better. She's married now. 2 kids. Happy? You saved her? Maybe. But I lost you. Anna wiped her tears with the back of her hand. I wish you had told me. Me too. They sat in silence. This time it wasn't heavy. It was healing. Then Keanu reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small folded paper. I kept this, said. He handed it to her. Anna unfolded it carefully. It was a note handwritten from her, dated years ago. It simply said, If you're ever lost, find me at the station. I'll be waiting. Even if I don't look like I am? Anna smiled through her tears. I can't believe you kept this. I read it every time I thought about coming back. Why didn't you? Looked at her, his voice soft. Because I didn't know if. You were still the same person? Anna nodded. I'm not. Keanu's heart dropped slightly. But then she continued. And neither are you. Maybe that's a good thing. A quiet beat passed. Then she said, Let's go. He looked up. Go where? Back to the station. He blinked, surprised. Why? Because if we're going to start over, she said, I want it to be where we ended. Keanu stood. She reached for her coat. They didn't speak much on the way there. But their walk was not filled with distance this time. It was shared space, shared air. They reached the train station. It was busier now. Morning trains, announcements, travelers rushing past. But they found the same bench. Platform 4. They sat side by side. Do you remember what you said here years ago? Anna asked. Keanu shook his head. I remember being scared. That's all. You told me that if we were ever meant to last, we'd meet again. Keanu looked at her. I didn't know it would take this long. Anna's voice was soft. Me neither. She reached into her pocket and handed him something small. A train ticket, dated. Today, departure, 3 p.m. destination, unknown. What is this? He asked. A challenge, she said. You always said life is about jumping before you're ready, and where does this train go? Does it matter? She smiled gently. I'll be on it. You can be too. Keanu looked down at the ticket, then back at her. Are we running from the past? Oh, she said. We're walking toward the future. He didn't answer right away, but inside, something shifted, something healed, and something dared to hope. The journey we never planned at the train doors hissed open, and Keanu stood at the edge of the platform, holding the ticket in his hand like it weighed 1,000 pounds. His heart was racing. It wasn't fear exactly. It was something more delicate, like standing at the edge of a moment that could change everything. If he dared to step into it, Anna had already boarded. She didn't push him. She didn't beg. She had simply looked back at him before walking into the train car, her expression quiet and open, full of that same unshaken belief she had always shown him. The same belief that made him feel seen in ways the world rarely allowed. The conductor gave a short whistle. Last call. Keanu took one more breath and stepped in. The train rumbled forward just seconds later. They were moving. No turning back now. Inside the car was almost empty. A few scattered passengers stared out their windows or scrolled through their phones. The soft sound of wheels on tracks filled the space with a calm rhythm, like a heartbeat guiding them forward. Anna was seated by the window. She looked up as he approached, then shifted slightly so he could sit beside her. You made it, she said with a small smile. Barely. They sat for a moment side by side again, this time with motion beneath their feet. The world outside began to blur as the city faded into open landscapes, fields, rivers, hills touched by morning light. Do you know where this train ends? He asked quietly. Not exactly, she said, but it's a few hours out. One booked it because it goes nowhere loud. He smiled at that. Nowhere loud. I like that. Anna turned toward him now, folding one leg under the other. So. Now, Keanu looked out the window. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm looking for. Maybe peace. Maybe a second chance. With me? He paused. With myself? And maybe, if I earn it. With you. Anna nodded slowly. That's honest. That's all I have. She was quiet again. Then she said something that surprised him. There's something else I didn't tell you. His body stiffened slightly, but he didn't speak. He let her continue. After you left, didn't just wait, tried to move on. Keanu swallowed hard but stayed still. I met someone, she said. It didn't last. He was kind. Stable. But every time we planned something for the future, I found myself comparing it to the future we almost had. Was he good to you? Tried, she said honestly. But he could tell my heart was somewhere else. Keanu didn't feel jealous. He felt ashamed. I'm sorry, he whispered. I put you in that place. No, she said. You were trying to save someone. I just wish you'd trusted me enough to be part of it, he nodded. Outside the window, the landscape was wide and open now. Endless hills under a soft blue sky. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Just the steady sound of travel like a heartbeat. Neither of them could stop. I want to tell you something too, Keanu said. Anna looked at him. Ready? I thought I didn't deserve love after my past, he began. Not because of something anyone else did, because of how broken I felt. Inside, every time you looked at me like I mattered, I felt like a lie. Like one wrong move would break that illusion. Anna leaned in gently. But you weren't a lie. I know that now, he said. But back then, it was easier to disappear than to disappoint you. Her voice was soft. You disappearing disappointed me more than anything else ever could. He nodded again, the guilt heavier now, but honest. So why did you come back to the station? He asked. She looked down. For a moment, then out the window. Because I had a dream, she said. 2 weeks ago. It was so real. What was it? You were sitting on that same bench, and I walked up just like yesterday. But in the dream, you said something I've never heard from you before. Keanu leaned forward. What did I say? You looked at me and said, I missed everything because I was afraid of something that never left. He let that sit in the air for a moment, then quietly said, I didn't say it then, but I'm saying it now. Anna gave him a long, searching look. Do you still love me, Keanu? I never stopped. Then tell me what you want from me. He turned to her fully, not hiding this time. I don't want promises. Not right now. I don't want to be rescued or forgiven too quickly. But I want to walk with you, talk with you. I'll start again not from where we left off, but from where we are now. 2 different people. 1 shared memory. Her hand reached for his, slow and steady. Her fingers were warm. I can walk with you, she said. But you have to let me see your scars, not just your smile. Deal, he said. They smiled. Then, not with joy, not with ease, but with relief. They didn't need to rush toward something perfect. They just needed to move. Together, dash forward, and the train rolled on. The truth we bear, the train slowed as it entered a small countryside station. There was no crowd, no noise, just a wooden sign outside the window that said Riverbend. The platform looked like it hadn't changed in years. A rusted bench, a small booth, tall trees in the distance. A dog asleep near the tracks. Keanu stood and looked at Anna. This is it, she said. You've been here before? Once. It's where I came to right after everything fell apart. It's quiet. No one bothers. You here? He followed her off the train. The air was fresh, cooler than the city, and filled with the scent of pine. He inhaled deeply, letting it calm his nerves. Something about the stillness felt sacred. They walked in silence, their footsteps crunching gently on the gravel path beyond the station. The trees swayed overhead, and the light filtered through the leaves like it was blessing everything below. Anna led him toward a small cabin at the edge of the woods. It had a stone path, a front porch, and ivy growing along one side.
House.
It looked forgotten by time, but also loved. This was my hideaway, she said, unlocking the door. A place to remember, and a place to forget. Keanu stepped inside. The air smelled of wood and memories. Shelves of books lined the walls, fireplace, a small kitchen, and a table by the window where sunlight poured in. Beside it, a stack of old journals, neatly tied with string. You wrote here, he asked. Every day, she said. Sometimes about us. Sometimes about everything else. He looked at her. Did you ever write about me with anger? At first, she said. Then it turned into questions, and finally understanding. She walked over to the journals and picked up one from the middle of the stack. The cover was worn. She handed it to him. Read this one, she said softly. Not all of it. It's just one page. He opened it carefully. The handwriting was hers, familiar and gentle. He flipped to a page marked with a dried flower and read, Today, I remembered how he held my hand on cold mornings without saying a word. How he made coffee the way I liked it without asking. I hated him for leaving, but I loved him for showing me what it felt like to be seen. I don't know if that kind of love comes again, but if it does, I hope I recognize it without needing it to be perfect. Keanu closed the journal and looked at her. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, Anna. Said, just know that no matter how much time passed, a part of me always believed you'd come back when you were ready. I thought I was protecting you, he whispered. But really I was just hiding. We all hide, she replied. But eventually, we have to come out and face the truth. She turned and walked to the porch, leaving the door open behind her. Keanu followed. They sat on the steps, looking out into the forest. Birds chirped in the distance. Wind moved gently. Through the trees then, almost out of nowhere, Anna said, I wanted a family with you. Keanu turned to her, stunned by the suddenness of it. I used to imagine it, she said. Not just the big things, the small ones. Sunday mornings. Messy pancakes. Fighting over movies. Falling asleep on the couch. He was quiet, deeply moved. I imagined those things too, he said, but I didn't think I deserved them. Anna looked at him. You still think that? Less now, he said. Because if someone like you could still let me sit beside you after everything, maybe I wasn't as lost as I thought. She leaned her head on his shoulder. We don't have to be what we were, she said, but we can be something new. How do we start? He asked. By being honest, she said. Fully. No more secrets, not even the ones that feel too heavy to speak. Keanu's hands tensed slightly. There's one more thing. He had hidden it even from himself. There's something else, he said. Something I didn't tell you. Anna sat up straight. Go. On. When I left, and stayed with my sister. I also started drinking again, he confessed. Just for a little while. It was quiet, controlled. I thought I had it handled. Anna said nothing, but I didn't, he continued. I lost control one night, said things I regret, not to hurt but to myself. I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize who I was anymore. What did you do after that? Got help, he said. I checked into a place in Oregon, stayed for weeks, told no one. I started over. Anna reached for his hand. Thank you for telling me, she said. That takes more strength than most people know. Not proud of it, he said. You don't have to be, she replied. You just have to keep walking forward. They sat quietly again. Two people stripped of illusions, holding nothing back. The silence was no longer cold. It was healing. Keanu turned to her. Can we stay? Here a while? He asked. Anna smiled. We can stay as long as we want. And for the first time in years, he felt at home. The station where healing began 3 days passed at the cabin. The days were slow, quiet, and full of small things that mattered more than words. Shared breakfasts by the window. Soft music in the evenings, reading old books together, and walking. Through the forest trails, where the sunlight dripped down like melted gold.
Ow.
Let her ride. No pretending. Keanu had never felt more real. Anna had never felt more seen. But the peace also brought something else. Questions, not of doubt, but of direction. One morning they sat together on the porch. The sky was gray. It had just rained. And everything smelled like earth and hope. Keanu held a mug of hot tea, staring at the trees. Anna had her knees pulled close to her chest, wrapped in a blanket. "We can't stay here forever," she said quietly. "I know," Keanu replied. "So, what happens when we go back?" He took a moment to think. "I go back different. Not fixed. But clearer. And me. You go back knowing you're still the only person who's ever made me feel whole." Anna looked down. "Strange. We've said more in the past. 3 days than we did in our last 3 months together. We were always running back then," he said. "Now, we're just walking." Anna looked at him for a long time. Her eyes held something brave. "Do you want to walk with me? For real?" Keanu turned to her, his voice low and steady. "I do. I don't want to rush this. I don't want to skip any steps. No more disappearing. No more waiting years. To speak truths, so we take it slow. Step by step." She nodded, and then something in her softened. Like a door she had been guarding finally opened. "There's one more thing you should know," she said. Keanu gave her his full attention before. "I found my mother's letter. I was going to move. Move out of the country," she said, "to somewhere quiet. Felt like I was disappearing inside Hollywood. I didn't want to be the girl everyone expected. I wanted to feel like myself again." Keanu looked into her. "Do you still want to go? Not alone?" The words landed softly. Like a note placed in his palm, Keanu took a slow breath, his heart full, but calm. "Then wherever you go, let me walk beside you." Anna smiled. Not because she was rescued, not because her pain vanished, but because she wasn't alone anymore. They stayed one more night at the cabin, and in the morning, they packed up quietly. No rush, just intention. The walk back to the station was different now. Lighter, their hands brushed. Then slowly they intertwined. The station came into view, the same bench, the same old wooden sign. But everything felt new. They waited for the train together as it approached. Keanu looked at her and said, "Do you remember the first time we said goodbye here?" Anna nodded. "No." "You promised we'd meet again when the time was right. Do you think this is the right time?" "I think it's the real time," she whispered. "Not perfect, but honest." The train pulled in, they boarded, side by side, no longer strangers to their past, no longer afraid of their future. As the train moved forward, Keanu glanced out the window and whispered to himself, "We made it back." Anna heard him. She leaned, her head on his shoulder. "No," she said with a smile. "We finally made it home.